Okay, today we're trying doing something a little different than our usual car stuff, but it is sort of automotive related. We are going to rebuild a Beverly Shear. We're gonna pull it apart, sandblast all the parts. Some stuff needs new bushings, like this is wobbly in there, so we'll fix that. This might be need a bushing in there. The cutters definitely need, this one's got a big gouge out of it, and they definitely need to be sharpened and lined. They're not, it doesn't cut very well. And it's got a makeshift stand on it. I do not believe it's factory, but it's probably from a cream separator or something, but it's an old farmer fix. But we'll sharpen the blades up, we'll sandblast everything, we'll paint it and get it all working nice and perfectly. Bush whatever we can, replace what we need to, but we'll show you the steps. We're just pulling the handle off. This one is not horribly rusted, it's more greasy. Those are the adjustment screws for the bottom cutter. one more piece to come off. The top cutter. %, disassembled now. And very greasy. You can see that's the bottom cutter, top cutter, and they're slightly curved. But it's sort of automotive related. We use these to cut sheet metal. You can cut aluminum sheet metal with them, so it's well within our field. So next, we'll take it to the sandblaster and degrease all the parts and then sandblast them. Alright, just grinding off the rivets for the name plate so we can do a proper restoration. Just using a small Dremel tool. That's so we can get out the rust and underneath and the paint underneath, if there is. Also started degreasing. That's the clamp that holds the that clamps the bottom cutter. So that's just ready to be sandblasted. Then we'll make it nice and pretty and paint it. Okay, this is the Beverly Shear that we're restoring. It's all finished sandblasting. So now the next step is we're just gonna give it a quick prime, and then we'll paint it a machine gray, and then start putting it back together. The nameplate, there was 2 rivets there. We just gotta drill those out and make new ones, but we'll do that before we paint this one or that piece. But the handle's already done, so we'll
Hey Chris, stupid question. When you guys paint this thing, was this the matches like everything else like gray, or is this get painted a different color?
or the same color.
Okay, I was just curious.
Okay, we've got all the parts sandblasted. We've ground down the little rivets for the tag. We will drill those out after it's been painted. We found after it was sandblasted, the top of the handle has been cracked. It must have had water in there or something and cracked. So we're gonna V that out, weld it, grind it, and then we'll get this stuff ready for priming.
Alright, it broke. Not much holding.
So when we were sandblasting this, we noticed that the cap on here was cracked 3/4 of the way around. We were going to just attempt to just V it out and then weld it, but as soon as we basically touched it, it came off. And then it appears that it maybe was welded, but then they ground too much from the factory or something. It wasn't a crack. So we're just gonna have to weld the whole thing around and make it permanent. Okay, that's all done the welding. We'll just grind that nice and smooth. Let's get over here. Okay, that's all welded. It's been ground smooth. Now we just have to wipe it, all the items we gotta paint with some alcohol spray. Get off all the fingerprints and grease. And get it ready for priming. Prime and then paint right after. Okay, everything's primed. That's the handle, the base, even the top of the nuts and bolts. Just wait a few minutes for that to dry up, and then we will paint it. We have a machine gray paint, similar to what would be originally on this. So we'll paint that soon. Okay, they're all nicely painted with a machine gray. There's the handle, the base, the clamp, next step is we will clean out the threads on that and on these pieces, and then start assembling the new and improved Beverly Shear. Okay, time to reassemble our little shear. First thing is we will tap out this hole, and that hole. just to get any paint residue out of there. Then the machine surface where the cutter goes has to be cleaned of paint. In the previous video or section, the original cutters were very worn and they've been ground too much to be useful, so we had a spare set off another cutter. So we pulled those off, had them reground at our local machine shop. Putting in the push pin for the adjustment of the bottom shear. And the clamp goes on. We will adjust it after it's all together. Okay, we got to also clean off the surface that rubs on here, because that's a machine surface also. also do this surface, and on the back side here, there's also. Okay, all the machine's surfaces have been ground down with paint to get the paint off, so the two halves of the metal fits flushly. With a little bit of oil, it will move smoothly. The top cutter goes on first. And you gotta make sure you got that in the right position for the right leverage and handle placement. Last piece to go on is the handle. Then we adjust just the bottom cutter. The cutter should be roughly 4 thousandths of an inch away from the top cutter. Using a feeler gauge, just want a slight drag on the feeler gauge. Test it. You can cut straight, you can cut curves. And it's cutting it like butter. And that's a Beverly Shear restoration. All that's left to do is the name tag. Hey, we just did some final adjustment. The plaque is on there. We just drilled little holes and put little tiny screws in there to hold the nameplate, and we did some final adjustment, and now you can cut paper with it. Next thing to do is mount it on the base. And again, that's not an original base. That's just what came with it when we got it. But we're going to put it back on. Okay, Beverly Shear is all done. It's on its little makeshift stand that came with it. It's all painted. The plaque is on there. It's all adjusted. It cuts sheet metal like butter, paper. And all for like a couple bucks of spray paint and some labor.